Before we jump into today's video, I want to remind you guys that this is a 40-minute long video chock full of tips and tricks when it comes to bodywork. It's going to be hard to navigate. I might come in and put some chapters in for you guys, but the big thing I'm going to do is break this video down into smaller videos and repost them on YouTube for you guys, so that way you can find out how to remove your ground effects on your Mustang, how to sculpt a new body line, how to block sand your car, and how to fill a dent and sand it with wood grits. Okay, I'm going to do my best to get those up for you guys. Whew. 40 minutes, guys. Grab something to eat, grab something to drink, kick back, and enjoy today's video. Plans change, as we all know, and I think in the last video I mentioned that Andrew was waiting to get a shop or somewhere to put the car. Well, it looks like that's going to go through. Looks like he's going to get him a place. So with that being said, we have decided to go ahead and paint this car. So just that quick. That's the way it works around here. For right now, we're just going to be taking parts off the car. Not everything, but we got to get the stripes off of it and a few other things. He's got a bumper and a wing. I always have people ask, how do you remove your ground effects? And I'm just going to show you real quick how to do this. There's a series of screws that go along the bottom here. So all you're going to do is take these out. Usually if you get a short stubby screwdriver, you can just do this with the car jacked up on the ground. You don't have to have it on a lift, but you're going to take these off. Something I want to show you though is if your ground effects bulge up on the sides here, typically it's because the pinch weld of the car is messed up. So if what you can do is come in right here and cut off a little bit of your ground effect this way, cut it off, and what that'll do is not allow this to get all scrunched up. See how when the pinch weld gets tight against this, see what happens to your ground effects? It bulges it. So if you can just trim across here just a little bit, you'll be good to go. Or straighten out your pinch weld. Andrew's pinch weld is in good shape, no issue there. His is just buckled up over time from the heat. So there's a series of catches up here. So what you have to do is pop it up like that. And if you guys can see back there, see how that just comes off? Just kind of get them started. Shit. Anyway, that's it, guys. I just wanted to show you that. That's what you have to do on your ground effects. And this can be saved. We're not going to bother trying to save it, but it can be clamped up in between two boards and heated up. This time, everything will be taken off this car, and we're going to do it the right way. This is the most painful thing ever, but I want him to do it. I want him to experience it.
That shit has been on there a while.
Hell yeah.
I don't think you pulled these off when you painted
No,
it.
those have never been off actually. Once it goes, it won't start going, you should be good.
Yeah.
And this is why you can't really pull these things off, guys. If you've ever wondered, they have metal inside of them and they curl up. Yeah. There we go. Coming now. Ain't no turning back now, guys.
That tape's gonna suck to get off.
Yeah, it is. We're gonna have to get another stripe eraser. We'll get one from Ken.
Yeah.
I have one somewhere, but I think it's about shot.
I'm gonna go order them tomorrow, and Elmar's like, out of stock indefinitely.
Probably. Ugh. We are back. It's the next day. I'm going to come out here, work on Andrew's car a little bit while he's at work. So everything is just sitting on the car. The back bumper is just kind of chilling there with one screw. And then, of course, the deck lid has not been bolted down. The holes haven't been drilled yet. But look at this, though. It's going to look awesome. It's going to be a really unique color combination with this setup with the wing and the back bumper. But, of course, as always, there's more work to be done. So, got to fill all that in. No big deal. Now, I know not everybody does body work, but I want to remind you guys, don't freak out when you see stuff like this. No big deal. We're going to put a little bit of fiber fill on here. This thing's kind of rough. I don't know what name brand this is, but it'll work, but it's going to take some work. So, yeah, right there.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we have started sanding on the car, and we pretty much already got this spot smoothed out there. We hadn't started on any of the door. As you can see, I've marked all of them. There's gonna be a lot of work up there smoothing that stuff out, but no big deal. Back here, we have got the spoiler mounted. I fixed the crack that was right there, just roughly kind of filled it in. The bumper is fitting really good on the car, except for one spot, and I remember this on my car, on the Calypso. We have to pull this, and we got to put this bolt in right here and then sandwich it in. But other than that, it's looking real good. There are some imperfections in the bumper that we're gonna have to sand out. That always sucks, but you just got to do what you got to do here. Little tip for anybody is when you block sand like this, you put your guide coat down and you can find your low spots. That's what Andrew's doing now, just kind of going back over some stuff. All right, so it's officially night 2. Andrew is working on some issues that we had up here on the top of the door and just around this whole area. It's looking really good. We got this taken care of last night. A few little dents over here, and this is working out really, really good. We'll wet it all down here in a few minutes and I'll show you what it looks like. But we've decided to go ahead and push through with the car. Originally, what we were going to do was just fix a couple spots like dents and then maybe wait 2 to 3 weeks before we try to really spray the car. But we're going to make a push for next weekend to actually paint at least the top half of the car and get the gray on the bottom half. Now, we've contacted my buddy Neo for a set of ground effects, some side skirts for this car. So those may not be here by next weekend, but either way, we're gonna go ahead and paint the car because that's what needs to happen. We can always spray the ground effects separately, but the whole bottom half of the car will be sprayed the dark gray. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we're gonna change the bottom color up ever so slightly. The top color staying the same, it'll be tuxedo black. The bottom will change up. Car had a lot of little door dings and stuff. I'll show you if I can get it to, maybe, yeah, I think we can get it to pick up. Yeah, there we go. See, like door dings like that is what this car had all over the doors, and we're trying our best to get this thing to smooth out. So we went ahead and marked all the little issues. As you can see there's a mark and there's a deformation. Same thing right there, there, and there. So believe it or not, the rear quarters on the car were pretty straight, and this front fender, we couldn't find any issues with that, but this door's got a few. Andrew's becoming a hell of a body man. If y'all need anything done, just hit him up at Andrew Chadwee 97 at Gmail. I wanted to show you that because there was a low spot in this car all the way down. So we put our filler on, and then we took some guide coat, sprayed on it, which was red. And all Andrew had to do was sand until all the red come off. So the way we attack things are probably a little different than most people. But we just want to work until the red is out, until the low spot's out. And at this point, we still have some excess Bondo up here and up here. But from here, what Andrew can do now is just go in and feather these edges across the top and across the bottom. And then what we'll do is we'll come in and block sand this again by hand, and then we'll re-guide coat everything. So it is day 3 now. Yesterday we worked on the side of the car. Pretty much got everything done that we wanted to get done. Andrew's been working on sanding off all the tape residue down here. So that is bare metal, so we will put some etching primer on that for anybody wondering. I'll go ahead and address this now. Anytime that you touch bare metal, it's best to go ahead and use some etching primer. You can use some in the spray can over here for small spots. That's perfectly fine. If you're doing a whole car, if you're taking it down to metal, do not use spray can primer for that. I don't recommend it, but for small spots, you're good to go. All right, so you guys asked in the live stream, you wanted to see from start to finish how you do something, you know, how we address fixing a dent from start to finish. So Andrew says that we got a guy here with an IQ of what, 14, 15?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. So
well, he misspells his own name sometimes.
So if he can do it, then you can do it. Michael, first off, we're going to use a DA. We're going to take this down with 80 grit. We don't need you. We just need the sander over here. Sorry for the confusion.
DA sander.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so what we're going to do is work an area about like that.
All right.
Let's probably turn down. There you go.
Yeah, we'll mess
Hold on. What you don't want to do is put it on the car while it's spinning.
Oh, really?
Put it up there and then let it go. Yep. Pretty much just sanding this got rid of our low spots that we've got here, so I kind of figured that. It is what it is though, and sometimes it's going to be that way. What we did obviously was go around and mark all the low spots. Now I'm not going to put him on this up here because there is a body line in that, and that's kind of asking for trouble there. I wouldn't expect him to be able to do that, but right here there were low spots and we marked them. Okay, so what you see happening, as long as he keeps that sander flat, he's going to smooth this out, and that's basically what's happened here. To be honest with you, I don't think we need to take it down any further with 80. That was probably unnecessary anyway, but it is fine. So now we've got 80 grit scratches all over the side of this car. So oops, right? Nah, not really. What we're gonna do from here is, I say let's put a little bit of guide coat on.
Right.
And then we're gonna let you come in with the 180 on a block, and let's see if there's any low spots left, because it looks like there might be some low spots. All the shiny spots will be low spots. So that should come right out with a block, because there's enough paint on this car that you can utilize that. So for now, you don't even have to clean it off good. It doesn't matter, because we're going to be sanding all this back off. So take your red interior dye over there. That's all this is that we're using, guys, is just SEM interior dye. And just put you a light coat over everything you just did right there. Light coat, light. There you go. All right, that'll work. Now, you can always just kind of do this. All right, in a crosshatch pattern, like this, work your way all the way down and switch it up, come back like this.
Okay.
Go ahead and start working this. And see what we're doing here, since this car has really a lot of paint on it anyway, is we can use the paint as like a filler, a primer, whatever you want to call it. And he should be able to get all of this out if he keeps going like that. Maybe just a little bit of a low spot. You see a little bit of red right there. Mm-hmm. But that's just that's the car. That's actually, if anything, probably a high spot right there, but it's not going to be noticeable. Go ahead and continue to do it. Let me show you one thing. I don't really want to do it for you, because this is all really to show that you can do it yourself. Is just kind of longer strokes, like more to the side like that, and then come back this way.
Okay.
Just kind of angle it ever so slightly. Oh, yep, there you go, like that, and change it up some. Pull it on out a little bit further if you want to. Okay, so let's look at this. We definitely have somewhat of a high spot showing up right here. Now that may kind of freak you out, and you think, okay, well, I got a high spot here, we got a problem. That's not really the case. And I'm going to show you why here in just a second. So, all right, from here, he's accomplished what he needed to accomplish. He has, basically sanded down and got rid of the 2 low spots that were right here. So I'm going to show you something. So basically, he did what he needed to do. So just to show you guys why you don't worry about stuff like this, you come on out with it. Look, I see a low spot popping up there.
Mm-hmm.
You see it where it's not sanding?
Yep.
If you see right there, that's trying to do the same thing that did. You're basically getting into it. This car is actually really flat. I need you guys to know that. If we went ahead and put some water on this and showed you guys, you'd be surprised. All right, you see this? That's a low spot. I can feel that. The block doesn't lie. Low spot, low spot, low spot, low spot, essentially. All right, or either a high spot and a high spot, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. But I can feel the waviness in this car up here. So this gives us an opportunity to go ahead, especially right here, to go ahead and really kind of block this thing out if we wanted to. So we could continue on with the 180 grit. And I'm going to because we have a low spot here. So let me just show you guys. It may not come out, but it's worth a try. Now what you got to do, you got to be careful to not stay in one spot too long. The whole point here is to blend everything. So you don't want to work this spot too much by itself. You want to kind of blend it in. See what we're doing? We're working this spot, but we're kind of moving over here a little bit. Okay, now look at this. We don't have any of those shiny spots anymore where we worked it at, right? So that's a good stopping point right here. Me personally, I like 180 grit to put primer on top of, because primer will really lock in and bond really hard to 180 grit. So if you're going to be priming the car with like a high build primer or something like that, then by all means you can go ahead and finish it out with 180 grit and your primer will stick. All right, guys, remember, put some tooth into this. Really sand this down good, okay? I like 80 grit before you put any type of filler, Bondo, whatever you want to call it. So, since those are your high spots, you got a choice. You can actually start to work this a little bit if you want to with like a hammer. And this is one of the, it's not a candle or a crayon. It comes in the paintless dent repair kit. And what you can do is start to work this area back like this on all your high spots. And what it'll do is it'll push that metal back in. But all right, so show you how to mix your filler up. Obviously, we're not going to need much, but always mix more than what you need. That'll be plenty for what we need to do. Mix your hardener up as well before you put it on there. That's probably too much actually on the hardener. Now, I already know most people are going to say use this to mix it with because you're going to introduce air bubbles. That's fine. If you have the patience to do that and you're good at it, then do that. I like to mix it up, get it started like this first.
Then I'll come in with this and just kind of smear it out. Start at the top. You want to push in pretty hard so that it'll bite in to your sanding marks. Push it in pretty hard, and then you can come back in with a lighter coat over the top. I was never good at icing a cake, so it's going to show here. And what you can do is go ahead and kind of mimic your body line as best you can. That way you have the extra Bondo or filler wherever you need it. Now at this point, I recommend that you go ahead and use what you've got here, okay? You can always sand this stuff off, all right? So keep it thick. That's probably good right there, honestly. Oh, this fucking primer. Where's the damn red at?
Oh my God.
Get the red, man.
Jeez.
All right, so.
I guess it don't matter.
Damn, I didn't mean to do that. Let me wipe it off. I forgot the video, but I just took the sander with some 80 grit and feathered the edges out. And let's see if we can get this to block out. One thing that I want to remind you guys of is we had a bad spot right here, but we got, I know you are tired of hearing it, but good metal over here and good metal over here. So what we want to do is bridge the gap. So if we keep this block straight here and just move it back and forth, it should mimic this body line all the way across. Can you see how our body line is slowly starting to creep back up? So everything should start to come out. We may not be able to get that out though. Probably need a little bit more there, but we'll see. See if we can get it to come out. And I'm never rolling completely off the body line. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but that's something that I try not to do to start with, is completely roll over the body line. So we're kind of keeping it, see how it's still kind of off of the car down here? And that's the way that I keep it. I never drop down past that line. Not yet, at least. We're starting to make some headway. I just don't think that we're going to be able to get that out. So that'd be a good time for some poly glaze to fill in that one little spot there. Sander earlier, but we're getting really close, as you can see right here. All right, so now I'm just going to transition and work the bottom half of it, and we're probably going to have to put a little more filler right there. Our sandpaper is about shot, but we some cheap asses, so we try to save everything we can. All right, the bottom half, same concept. Everything should start to come together if we had enough filler on here. Back with some fresh 180 grit. Oh yeah, you can just tell. That's so much better. Now watch this start to disappear, all this red. So look at that. Something we didn't notice is we have a little bit of a low spot here too. Let's work this edge like this. Let's see what else we can get out of this. I don't think we're done yet. So as you can see, our body line is starting to crisp back up. Look at that, starting to come out. And we can use this filler. So we still got some filler here, which is really good because this may come out a lot better than I thought. So let's finish this up real quick. Look at that. Coming out.
Really good.
Yeah, body line feels good. I'll work this a little bit more because we're not actually touching metal yet. It looks like it, But let's see if we can get any more out of this up top. All right, so that's what we got, guys. Look at that. A little bit of a low spot there. We're gonna put just a touch of poly glaze on it and add some poly glaze over here as well. But do you see what we did here? We worked the top of this line down, but you never fall off the edge of the body line. You can feel it. You can feel the peak. See how, there again, the bottom of this is not touching. So you're just doing this, okay? And then you switch and you come up and you do the same thing. And what that does is leave a high spot across your body line. And then we've not rounded the edge of it off yet, but what we'll do is very lightly come in and start to do this now. And what that'll do is really mold that body line in to match what's already there. And there again, the only way this works is if you have a good body line over here and a good body line over here that your block can reach. A lot of people tell you never put a DA on the side of it if you're not doing Bondo. I want to show you a quick little trick here. Andrew, just show them on this door again. I know you've already been over it, but just kind of go over it and show them the motion. That'll keep you from getting streaks in the car. Flat, just like that. There you go, guys. That's how you keep all those lines out of the car, the low spots when you're said and done. So just like that, nothing is perfect. If you put a DA on this car, it is not going to be perfectly flat. But remember, we are going to put some primer on this thing and we're going to block it out. But you got to get some tooth in your paint before you put your primer. And one of the quickest ways, and in a sense one of the best ways, is with a DA. Now we do have an intermediate pad, interference pad, whatever you want to call it on here, so it's real soft. But what that'll do is allow us to kind of conform to the shape of the car, get a little bit of the orange peel out of it that's in it, and then move on to primer. That is 180 grit on there. You could also probably use 220, something along those lines. I prefer to put my primer down over 180. It just bites better. We are not addressing the bottom of the car at this point. We're only focusing on the top half of it. You need to break your car off into sections. That way you don't lose focus on where you're at. Anyway, that's just a quick tip. We do have his bumper on. It's bolted down, looks good. Put some filler on it and some of the bad areas. The top of the car, the deck lid is done now. We have our hole drill for our wires to come up through here. We had some cracking in the paint, in the original paint, so we sanded all the cracks out. Now this will have to be blended. Guys, these sharp lines like this, you're gonna have to put some primer on here and block this thing out if you don't wanna see any of this, because you will tend to see it for sure. Other than that, we worked on that yesterday. I don't know if I showed you guys the finished product on that or not. I can't remember, but it's pretty straight. We'll find out once we put primer on it how straight it is. And we're just gonna run the DA over the car, and then we're going to address the ground effects in the lower half of the car once we are done with the upper half. So
Fan's really weird.
I got it turned down on purpose. Go ahead and pull the trigger back so you can get some, and pull it, there you go. Or you can get some material on it.
Yeah, I was just trying to get a feel for
it. Yeah. All right, guys, it is the next day and we're out here, and Andrew is going to perform some block sanding for you. So he's going to try. All right, so we've already got this fender block sanded out and it's straight. You know, you do start to get a little deformation right here in the corners and stuff where things just roll into other, you know, bends and whatnot. There's a little bit of a spot right there when you either that or that was water running. As you can see, we got some red guide coat on the car, and all Andrew's going to do is start with 400 grit, and he's going to work his way like this in an X pattern, and we'll watch this stuff disappear. Go ahead and stop and we'll look at what we got. Okay, so first few passes, look at how uneven this car is. So this goes to show this is why you don't just prime a car and then spray it, because it looks straight down the side, but look at all the little low spots right here. Especially that, not so much this is just the edge of the panel. That's hard to kind of get to. But right here is a definite low spot. So he's gonna work until that low spot comes out. Now when you're working areas like this, you kind of have to keep moving with the car. So in other words, you don't want to stay here forever. So what Andrew will do at some point is you'll see him broaden his stroke. He'll kind of move to the side. And what that'll do is start to blend that area that you've been working really hard right here, because you could create low spots and such, low spots and high spots, if you will, top and bottom. All right, let's see what you got.
Still there.
Yeah, but barely though.
Barely.
You'll see
It'll
it.
block out
Yep.
with this coat.
See the little bit of the red here, if you guys can see it. But here's what we're looking at with the car. Now you can't look at the ripples because that's the water running down the car. But look at that. Looks good, right? All right, well, he's gonna work his way down, and this is the technique that we use. It's just this simple. You put your guide coat on. This is just interior spray dye from SEM. It dries really quick, so we just choose to use that most of the time. So once he's done with that, we'll come in and then we'll address the top half up here that we couldn't get to. And then we'll get the bottom. And then when it's all done and it's been gotten, what we'll do is we'll come in and really block this whole thing out at one time. And what that'll do is really blend the panel in together. You guys can't really see it, but see these little spots right here? Those will get you. Those will bite you in the butt. But what we'll do, there's nothing wrong with him doing it the way he is. He's just going to move down the panel and get the majority of this knocked out. Then we can just come in probably with one glancing blow, if you will, down this car, and it'll probably pick up all that. That and that sandpaper is probably about worn out.
Yeah, it ain't great.
So, all right, guys. I'll give you an update here pretty soon. Show you what we got. All right, I want to make this as quick as possible. We had a bad spot in the back of the car that we knew about. I think I covered it in the video. So it is now time to go ahead and address that. And when I tell you this is a deep gouge, guys, that is deep, deep, deep. What happened was the car started to rust right here. It started to pop the Bondo. So there's only one way to do this, and that is put a little bit more filler on here. And that's quite a bit of filler already, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a blend of fiber fill and Bondo. You want this to have a little bit of extra strength, a little bit of extra bite to it. So we're gonna mix up some regular polyfiller Bondo, if you will. And then we're gonna use this fiber fill right here. You can mix these two together, but we're not gonna go crazy with it, probably about like that. And that'll really help strengthen this Bondo. But if you're wondering why I'm not using just fiber fill itself, is because it is a nightmare to sand. So I can't hold the phone and mix this up, but I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. That's gonna be hot. That's a little too hot, but it'll be all right. So let's go ahead and mix this up, put it on the car. All right, this was sanded with 80 grit. So here's the deal with this. You want to make sure you pack this in. Pack it in good. Another reason why I'm using this particular Bondo is it's very high build Bondo. So you can pack it on and stack it up. Any of your little edges that you can go ahead and like smooth out, I recommend that you do. So there you go. That's that. We're gonna let it dry up, and I'm gonna hit it with some 80 grit and finish it off with some 180, and then we'll shoot some more primer on it, and we should be good to go. All right, real quick, let's talk about something. So we had some cracking in the back of the deck lid. We decided to go ahead and take it down to bare metal, which is what we've done here. If you look at these are all the layers of paint. It kind of looks like, what would you say, like banks of a river, kind of like from an aerial view.
Looks like a map to me.
Yeah, kind of like a map in a sense. Anyway, these are, when these lines start to get bigger and separate apart, that's whenever you know you're feathering. Right now I can feel that. So if you look right here, see how everything is pulled away from itself? So here's the difference. So as Andrew moves down, he's pulling all these layers into just a very subtle kind of deal here. So he's gonna keep working this down, and you're gonna have to pull something like this on down to like right here eventually. But start up here, push real heavy in the center with like an 80 grip, and then start pulling it down. And then that way, hopefully you can just use primer and block this thing out and nobody will ever see it. Or you could take the whole entire trunk down to bare metal. You wanna do that? All right, so that's how we're doing it, guys. All right, we are back for day 5, I think it is. So I think I left off in the last video. Yeah, in the last video where we had sanded all of this. So what we did was just put a nice little skim coat of Bondo and lightweight filler, so the glazing putty, if you will. And now we're just blocking it out. As you can see, we come in with the red guide coat. Now this is probably going to be, as Berger said earlier, a perception thing here. That's a good point. Good way to look at it. What we're going to probably do is blend all of this in. This is probably not necessary to leave this much, but remember, we don't want to see these lines and these ridges. So we'll probably just blend this out real smoothly, and we'll leave probably more filler than we normally would on this. But don't think I showed you guys, but we did get this fixed right here. It might need just a touch of work, but it looks really good. That was where we had sanded this big hole before. Now I do want to tell you guys, I did not put the filler on the back of this car. Andrew, something had hit the back of the car or whatever, so Andrew had to take the car and go get the back end fixed.
I was like 16.
Yeah,
my buddy's grandma backed into it when I was like 16.
Yeah, so somebody backed into it. So he took it to a body shop and they just filled it with Bondo. This car had no Bondo on it to speak of whenever we did the car. But anyway, that area is now fixed. Down the side of the car is, I mean, I'm gonna call it straight as an arrow. But guys, that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this video. I'm gonna end this video tonight because nothing really else is gonna change on the car until we get it in paint. The car will probably get one more light coat of primer on it, then we'll block it out in 500. Andrew did work up here on this front bumper quite a bit. It had some bad spots on it, so he's worked those out as good as he could. It's not going to be perfect, but remember guys, on a bumper it doesn't have to be perfect. This hood is not staying on the car. That's why it looks like it does with a little bit of primer. He has ordered a 4-inch cal hood, and actually Berger did too. So let's see what else. This area that we worked on before, I think we kind of left off with this. You guys never got a chance to really see it. That turned out phenomenal. One more thing on this, I'll show you guys the blocking technique that we're using. As you can see, just a crosshatch pattern. All of your red is going to be your low spots, or whatever color dye or guide coat you choose to use. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Back here is pretty good. I'm over here rubbing it and I can't even see it. So back here is pretty good. Luckily for this car, it's got a Cobra wing. It's going to cover most all this up. So.
It's supposed to be that tight?
Yeah, fool. They got to hold up a damn 100-pound trunk lid.
I can't get the bitches to compress at all, though.
Y'all weak.
I'm scared I'm gonna break it.
But that is a tight ass sweater you got though.
That's what I told him. He's got a Coochie sweater like Biggie Smalls or some shit.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this video up with Andrew's car. We did get this. Let's see if we can catch it in the light. Yeah. So got that looking pretty good. I busted my ass on it.
Yeah, you did a good job, man, all by yourself.
Yeah, but it looks really good though. Now that's etching primer, and it just always looks like crap anytime you put etching primer on these things. But got this back here done, like I said. That's gonna wrap it up on Andrew's car. We probably will not show anything else. No more tips and tricks. This video is already like 30-something minutes long. I'm about 3/4 of the way done editing it. I just have to add this piece in. So guys, stay tuned, because the Tuxedo Fox is going to be back and better than ever. Andrew, what you think about this? I need to kind of ask you about your experience with this so far. So this is Andrew's, I guess, first time really going all out on doing body work.
Yeah, I've done a little bit here and there, but never like been involved in pretty much everything on the car.
Yeah. So I pretty much just turned Andrew loose on it, and I mean he knows
It
what
really
he's
ain't
doing.
bad.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. You guys can see he's got the technique down. He's got an understanding of it. And not to pick at him, but I mean he's a little slow when it comes to this stuff, or takes his time with it. But
I'm just scared I'm gonna mess it up. So
Yeah.
I always
So-
go really slow.
my point in saying that is, for those of you that are a little, scared and struggling with stuff, it's okay. I mean, we all do it. There's certain things that I take my time on because I'm not 100% sure on. Andrew does as well, and you guys will as well. But for the most part, he's done a damn good job. And Berger's been learning a little bit too. So you got some information. So you might be attempting.
Yeah, I think I want to try it.
Nice. So here's the thing, right? So before we started this, you were going to pay somebody to do your car, right?
Yep.
And since we have started this process, he has seen the process. He knows what's involved. He's decided to, at bare minimum, do some body work on the car, bare minimum. And if nothing else, I don't recommend, like if you don't have any clue of how to spray or how a gun works or anything like that, I wouldn't recommend you jumping out there and attempting something like that on your own, painting your own car for the first time, unless you just have that confidence that you can do it and you do your research. But here's the deal. If he'll get his body work done, we'll help him on, maybe getting this thing painted or whatever the case may be. But I just think it's awesome, somebody else has got to carry the torch, because at some point I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. So maybe it'll be them two. I'll be taking my cars to them.
Social Security in a few years. Leave me alone.
No, go ahead and say it. What were you saying?
I wasn't saying nothing.
Say it again.
He would just look, man. Some of my classes had 2 teachers in high school, so if I can do it, anybody can do it.
All right, y'all. We'll catch you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching.